Denise again. I recorded a video last week for Sexual Violence Awareness Week and received some lovely positive feedback. So as much as I don't like being on the camera, especially with my current roots, as you can see, waiting for the hairdressers to open, I thought it might be nice to reach out and share some thoughts with you about the current lockdown and expectations. So really these are a mixture of my own thoughts and experiences and that of my clients. We're nearly in March, we're nearly a year into lockdown and COVID. We've had lots of positive news. We've got vaccines on the go. There's new treatments for COVID. We've had awful spikes in numbers. And everybody's going through something different. So I'm aware there's people still on furlough, there's people who haven't got jobs, there's people trying to balance homeschooling and working, missing their friends, battling mental health, battling limiting conditions and illness that isn't COVID related, as well as those fighting COVID, who've lost loved ones in COVID, and lots on social media about we're all in it together in the same boat. Well, I think we're in the same storm. I'm not sure we're in the same boat. And so really, we're nearly a year on from the first lockdown. And I've really noticed recently some really big differences. So from my own perspective, I've been lucky to work all the way through, and I don't take that for granted. I know I'm lucky to maintain a job, to be able to work from home and homeschool as and when required. My husband works from home as well, so we're both very lucky and we know that we're safe and well. And currently, touch wood, all our family members are safe and well. In the first lockdown, my dad did have COVID and was in a coma and had to battle it for some time. Thank goodness he's okay, but he's still recovering. So really, I wanted to just put out some observations I've noticed between the difference. So a year ago, when COVID came into our lives and we were all very scared and all worried about what was next, and when the national lockdown was announced, I think everybody panicked, everybody was in fear. And there was a real sense of community and pulling together. Be kind, help other people, show recognition for the NHS, clap each week, take stock and note of how happy and how lucky you are, be grateful. We also started last year with the unfortunate death of Caroline Flack, who took her own life. And that started kind of the Be Kind movement and being positive. So when we went into the first lockdown, there was a real sense of everybody just did what they could and they were pulling together. People were battling mental health, people were losing people were still finding it incredibly tough. But I think there was this almost unwritten rule by employers and schools that, hey, just lay off, let them do what they can. And we managed to find a way through it. And then it seemed hopeful because we went into the summer and we all had a bit of help out to eat out, and we all knew that COVID wasn't done, but we regained our freedoms. And then really since the lockdown before this one, but mainly this one, I've noticed so many differences. So I don't want it to be all doom and gloom. I think there is some positive things. The numbers are finally coming down, albeit smallly. We've got a vaccine, which is fantastic news. We've got more than one. And luckily for us, a country that's got more than enough to go around, as well as new treatments for COVID. But I do want to just say that, I'm really sad for anyone who has lost a loved one, and not to minimise that experience. But for me, the difference in expectation is making this lockdown the hardest. So when we had our first lockdown, as I said, there was lots of do what you can, do you need to be furloughed, do you need to work part-time, do you need to be flexible? And that all seems to have ended. Everybody seems to be 100 miles an hour again. And what I mean by that is in the first lockdown, when my dad was poorly, and when I was working, I was like, I like this pace. It's like, yes, a bit of work, a bit of downtime, recognising needing to stop. We weren't commuting, which helped. And so many people I know were looking at moving house, slowing down, changing job. At the first lockdown, thinking about how they wanted to be going forward, that they could incorporate some of this new way of being. If we fast forward to now, I see people working 60-hour weeks at home, trying to balance out homeschooling, trying to be in meetings and sit with their kids, schools chasing parents to make sure they've done what they need to and worrying about catching up, children spending more time than ever on screens, The weather's rubbish, so we haven't got the sunshine to sit out in and play in. Gyms being closed, the impact on mental health, the aggression and anger. And I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but we've gone from be kind and think of other people and what they're going through to such brutal opinions about what others are doing, whether it's right or wrong. And it feels really sad that we've lost the be kind and, be grateful. And I think everybody's fed up. We want a safe world. We want to be COVID free. But I just want us to stop and think about what that expectation does. So I know that, education is having a really hard time with things. I think the teachers are amazing. Everyone has kept schools open, are brilliant. But there must be a massive toll on their mental health. They're trying to balance out the fear of COVID and working, looking after children and teaching online and trying to keep everybody up to date. Our children are then worried about, can I do it, can't I do it, where am I at, am I catching up? The idea that the teaching staff's holidays, not just our children, might be shortened to catch up. Some people say that's a really good idea, and for other people that will be great, and other people it won't. But I think, again, it's about the pressure on everybody. So I've noticed a huge increase in clients who are suffering with balance and pressure and stress. They've asked to be furloughed maybe, they've asked to reduce hours, or they can't afford to reduce hours, and they're trying to homeschool 2 or 3 children, or they've got one in preschool and a school child, and they're trying to work, they're trying to do meetings, they're trying not to miss anything, they're trying to make sure everyone's eating healthily, that the kids are happy, that they're happy. And it's really tough. And then I've got clients who live alone and have been by themselves for a long time and miss connection and are really finding it tough. So yeah, I think it's so different this time, and I think the long-term mental health implications of this lockdown could go on for a very long time. So I think I'm going to put some posts out over the next couple of days of things you can do to boost your mental health, little things to keep yourself sane, to keep yourself hydrated, to keep yourself well. But I think it's really important that we go back to being kind, not just to each other, but to ourselves. There's so much expectation on all of us right now that actually sometimes all we can do is literally put one step in front of the other and just carry on. Sometimes an achievement is logging on to work and making your meeting on time, getting the children to sit down and do one activity, getting them to bed on time, going for a walk, eating healthily. We can't be all things to all people because we don't have the tools we normally do to cope. And I really hope that the pressure that not just society and work and school, but we're all putting on ourselves to keep going and be the best versions of ourselves we can be, slows down. We're human beings, not human doings, and all we can do is the next right thing. So I really hope that if you've heard anything I've said today, you agree with it, you don't agree with it, which is fine. If you take one thing from this video, is that I hope that you can be kind to yourself and invest a bit more in self-care, and just take a step back and recognise that although the year has changed, the same things from the first lockdown still apply to today. We are in no different space, but the pressure and expectations on us is much greater. So I hope you can be kind to yourself, and remember, if you need support, please reach out. I'll put some details on the post of organisations that have 24-hour helplines, or if you need counselling support, please feel free to make contact. I hope you look after yourselves. Bye for now.